It's a complete invasion and intrusion, tracking, following, taking your personal life, your public space away from you. I know that in terms of the law, you'd have something that invades your peace and your privacy, and I think those words are really powerful in the law. And also then it causes alarm, distress and harm, as the law says, but like it really causes alarm, it causes fright, it constricts your world, and it really reduces the victim considerably, their life. We somehow thought it was a mark of love. I mean, complete nonsense. You know, kind of cute, you know, all this nonsense. We're beginning to cop to this and say, it isn't actually that cute. This is a problem. And it's also a complete assault on my person and an intrusion on me. And I have a right not to endure that. So we're beginning to say that. If something is too much for you, it's too much for you. Full stop. It doesn't have to meet some abstract list of things. If it's too much for you, say, please stop, and the person should stop. It is possible to escape from coercive control, from domestic violence, and from stalking. It's not easy, and you cannot do it alone. So whether or not you approach a service or not, you need your family and friends around you, your work colleagues. You need to educate yourself about the nature of the problem. That's very, very important, so that you don't feel you're mad, bad, or sad. Educate yourself about what exactly is coercive control, what is domestic violence, what is stalking. And I would suggest, where you can, begin to reflect on what's happening to you systematically, where you can, and name it and track it. I would suggest going to your local support service, where you can get the supports you need. Some people feel they can't do that for various reasons, fine. Go online and get help. And above all, talk to your friends and family, and trust yourself. You're not mad or bad or sad. If this is happening and you don't like it, it should stop. The most common misconception is that the person is a monster, or they're mad, or they're unusual or exceptional. No, they're not. There are people who have mental health difficulties. We can see that clearly, and they often get a lot of coverage. But the stalking we're talking about, and the stalking that we experience in the context of domestic violence services, is relentless, banal, ordinary, everyday, and deeply filled with violence and hate and control and revenge. And it's driven absolutely by the most toxic of intentions. And it's also, by the same token, and that's not to make a monster out of this is banal. It is that real banal evil. It is also driven by fear and outrage and anxiety, you know, in perpetrators. You can see that. I mean, people who have to resort to this are clearly, you know, weak. Fundamentally, you know, there's a sort of inability to really see themselves and to act independently. So the misconceptions around stalking really, I think, go to the way in which we ourselves can't face these dynamics in our world. That we can't face that a perpetrator will intentionally pursue somebody who is great in the local pub, a pillar of the society, so often used in courts, of good character and a good family, that this person will, because of a sense of power and entitlement and outrage, or a need for exploitation and control, because let's remember, you know, the exploitation and economic abuse of, in particular, women in this instance is very powerful motivation. So there are material benefits to having somebody in your control. So when you're thinking about stalking, I think you really have to look at all of these dynamics and what we expect out of our homes. Perpetrators will use anything to hand. So like everything else, it's not the technology, it's how it's being used. Having said that, what you now have are effectively kind of nuclear level weapons are now available to stalkers to really, really blow their victims' lives apart. They can go into every nook and cranny and pursue them if they have the skill and the resources. However, I would say that if victims and if the public are aware of this, and it's very, very difficult to become aware and to realise that you may actually be being stalked. So the frontline services would be very aware of this sort of tracking through technology, battles with solicitors, how the perpetrator knew things that they shouldn't have known, and then of course it's listing in devices and so on, surveillance devices. That's all there. So the question is just to become smart and aware that these things are there and can be used against you as much as any other weapon. But it is just one weapon among many. And if we blew technology apart tomorrow, stalking wouldn't stop, violence and control wouldn't stop. And the homicide, the femicide, killing women and children indeed, would not stop.
And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised in this programme, please visit our support page virginmediatelevision.ie /helplines.